So Christy Sides just got fired by the Indiana Fever.
Christy Sides has just been let go, and she's struggling to cope with it. Reports indicate she's having quite a meltdown, similar to a coach losing control during a game. But the real story isn't just about her reaction. It's about the impact this firing will have on Caitlin Clark and the entire Fever team. Remember that finals loss. Fans are now bringing it up as evidence of how badly Sides managed the team.
She's bad at a lot of aspects of coaching. She is unfortunately a bad offensive coach, a bad defensive coach, a bad rotations coach.
Imagine this. Christy Sides is in her office having a conversation with the GM when he suddenly reveals the shocking news. She's being let go. Sides completely loses her composure, throwing a tantrum like a child. Meanwhile, fans are celebrating her exit as if it's a major win for them.
Guys, it happened! It happened! Lads, the Indiana Fever have fired Christy Sides!
Chairs are flying and papers are everywhere. It looks like a scene from a movie. Sides is throwing things and shouting as if she were at a game reacting to a bad call, not in her own office. But here's the twist. During her meltdown, she starts talking about how she lifted team morale and claims she left the team better than she found it, almost as if she's trying to convince herself of that.
Maybe she could, I'm sure, coach at a lower level, a smaller high school, 2 or 3A maybe, but you get my point. You get my point.
Let's be real, Christy. We all witnessed those games. Boosting team morale doesn't mean much when you can't even call a timeout during a 21-0 run. So why couldn't Sides handle coaching at the WNBA level? It seems her coaching style was better suited for junior high than professional play. Insiders suggest she was in over her head, like showing up to a chess match with a checkers strategy. It's no surprise she struggled to keep pace in the fast-moving, strategic environment of the WNBA.
I mean, it felt like they were winning in spite of her. Like they were having to play the opposing team and their own coach at times.
You might think she just had a bad day, but this meltdown is only the beginning. Sides has struggled with in-game adjustments and strategic planning all season. It's as if she was always trying to catch up while everyone else was already 3 steps ahead.
Sides just wasn't ready. She was out of her depth, and she did not deserve to keep her job going into next year.
You might be curious about what triggered this epic meltdown. Well, get ready, because we're diving into the disaster that was Christy's coaching career with the Fever. You'll want to stick around for this. It's a wild journey that highlights the importance of good coaching. It's not pretty, but it reveals a lot about why Caitlin Clark and the Fever struggled this season. Let's break down how Sides' coaching decisions brought us to this moment.
Was she good in game adjustments? No. Was she good at making subs? No. Was she good at making, seeing what the other teams were doing and game planning for that? No.
Ever seen a car crash in slow motion? That's what Christy Sides' coaching career with the Fever felt like. But here's the twist. It wasn't just one bad game. It was an entire season filled with decisions so questionable that even a rookie coach would seem like a pro in comparison. From poor substitutions to missed timeouts and defensive lapses, it was evident that Sides was struggling at every turn.
Got a big 3. Anytime you got a big 3 in basketball, you should be not getting eliminated immediately upon arriving in the playoffs.
Let's break down how Sides' coaching decisions led to this moment. Remember that finals loss. It's haunting her now, but it wasn't just a single game. It was a whole season of puzzling choices that left fans bewildered and players frustrated. To make matters worse, she had a talented team to work with.
Nonsensical timeouts at all the wrong times. She would stop her own team's run and take a timeout, and then not take a timeout if her life depended on it, while the other team was, I think at one point this year, there was a 21-0 run, something ridiculous by an opposing team, and she failed to call a timeout.
Can you believe Sides actually let the other team go on a 21-0 run without calling a timeout? It's as if she completely forgot she had that option. Picture being a player on the court, watching your lead disappear shot after shot, while your coach just sits there, seemingly unconcerned. It really makes you wonder if she was even watching the game unfold.
Nonsensical substitutions at all the wrong times, benchings, leaving Caitlin Clark on the bench too long, playing shoddy defense.
But it doesn't stop there. Sides' substitution patterns were a mess. She would bench key players at crucial moments, making it feel like she was playing a game of musical chairs with the lineup. Only she was the only one who could hear the music. As a result, Players felt like they were struggling against both their rivals and their own coach. It was a really tough spot to be in.
Christie Sides, I'm going to be honest, feels like a really, really good junior high basketball coach. I just think that's where she is.
Just how bad were Sides' substitution patterns? Experts are saying her coaching style was more fit for junior high basketball than the WNBA. It's like she showed up to a gunfight with a water pistol. Her failure to adapt her coaching approach to match her players' strengths was so obvious that some are calling it a fireable offense on its own.
Sorry, if you play inside out with Caitlin Clark, you should be fired. That's literally like, imagine if Cleveland said we're going to run through Ricky Davis. Or let's say the Spurs, you know what, we're actually going to be playing. Wemby, your job is to post up and we're going to have Jeremy Sohan. You're our main option. Like, obviously you're going to get fired.
And we can't overlook Caitlin Clark in all this. Sides' insistence on a coaching style that didn't take advantage of Clark's offensive skills was like having a Ferrari and using it for pizza delivery. It's no surprise the team struggled when their coach was holding them back like that.
Christy Sides is the reason why that team had no chance against.
Now you might be curious about how this impacted Caitlin Clark's performance. Well, get ready, because that's a whole different story. We're about to explore how one of the most exciting players in women's basketball was almost stifled by coaching decisions that were truly bewildering. This is where things really start to get interesting.
Single-handedly cost the Fever numerous games. I agree. They underachieved, honestly. It was an underachievement with her as coach.
You might have thought Caitlin Clark was unbeatable in college, but just wait until you see what she can accomplish without Sides getting in her way. Clark is such a remarkable player that she still managed to post amazing stats, even with her coach's strange strategies. The real question is, how close was Sides to completely derailing Clark's rookie season?
From body language, you didn't exactly get the vibe that Clark was in love with Christy.
Picture this. Caitlin Clark, the basketball star who dazzled college courts, finally unleashed in the WNBA without Sides' questionable game plans holding her back. It's like removing the speed limiter from a race car, and suddenly, you're witnessing true power and speed. Clark isn't just good. She's transforming the game. Under Sides, it felt like watching Picasso try to paint by numbers, and Clark was definitely not satisfied with that.
She's bad at a lot of aspects of coaching. She is unfortunately a bad offensive coach,
You might think I'm exaggerating, but the stats tell the real story. Despite Sides' odd strategies, Clark was still racking up numbers that left fans and analysts puzzled. How was she pulling this off with a coach who seemed to want to hold her back? We're talking about plays that had Clark running in circles instead of dominating the game. It felt like Sides saw her talent and thought, how can I mess this up?
I don't think she caused any improvement on the court. On the court, improvement was caused because of three things. Caitlin Clark becoming the best offensive player in the W, Aaliyah Boston improving with her, improving out of the short roll and improving her face-up game, and Kelsey.
Do you recall when Sides benched Clark during crunch time? Yes, that actually happened. It's like having a powerful secret weapon and opting to leave it unused during the most critical moments of the game. Fans were understandably furious. You got one of the most thrilling players in women's basketball, and you decide to sit her when it really counts. That kind of decision makes you wonder if Sides was coaching the Fever or unintentionally aiding the opposing team.
He determines that it's not the right fit for her at head coach. Christy Sides is not the right fit for her at head coach. Then Christy Sides is not going to be the head coach going forward. And someone that she approves of is.
But here's the surprising part. Despite everything, Clark still delivered jaw-dropping numbers. We're talking stats that had rookies and veterans alike doing a double take. Just think about what she could achieve with a coach who really knows how to tap into her skills. It felt like Clark was playing with one hand tied behind her back, yet she was still outscoring everyone else on the court.
Career record 59-41.
So how close was Sides to derailing Caitlin Clark's rookie season? Let's just say it was a narrow escape from disaster. We're dealing with a generational talent who could have been significantly impacted by bad coaching decisions. It's like having a Lamborghini and only using it in first gear. Sure, it still turns heads, but you're missing out on all its power. Clark was starting to hint at her frustration, even if it was in a subtle way.
Penny White is a proven coach in the WNBA.
Now, let's discuss what this means for Clark's future in the WNBA. With Sides out of the picture, we're entering a whole new game. Experts are already buzzing about how a coaching change could unlock Clark's true potential. We're talking about the kind of leap that can turn great players into legends. Clark's college success was just the appetizer. With the right coach, we might be about to witness the main event, and it's going to be a treat for basketball fans everywhere. But hold on. Do you think just any coach can handle the pressure that Caitlin Clark brings? Think again. The Fever isn't just looking for a coach. They're searching for someone who can transform this talented roster into a championship-winning team. And here's the kicker. Who's got the magic touch to make that happen? Enter Stephanie White. Her name is lighting up the WNBA rumor mill like fireworks on the 4th of July. If they want a coach with serious credentials, White's impressive win-loss record speaks for itself, making her a top contender.
Caitlin, Stephanie White here. Congratulations on breaking the scoring record. What an accomplishment, on top of many other incredible accomplishments. Best of luck to you on the rest of your journey and continued success.
But here's where it gets really exciting. White isn't just a skilled coach. She's practically royalty in Indiana basketball. She spent 11 seasons with the Fever, both as a player and a coach, and she was the genius behind their last playoff run in 2016. That kind of connection to the team is something you simply can't fake.
The latest, Stephanie White has been in talks with multiple teams regarding her future. The 3 teams remaining in the picture at this point are the Sky, Fever, and Sun, according to multiple league sources.
Now, you might be asking, sure, she has history with the team, but can she actually lead them to success today? Well, White is already demonstrating her support for the Fever's rising star, Caitlin Clark. When Clark shattered the all-time scoring record at Iowa, White was among the first to celebrate her achievement, praising her in a way that clearly shows she believes in Clark's potential.
Yeah, it's exciting. Certainly I was born and raised in Indiana, and so have a lot of pride in Indiana basketball, and a lot of pride in the Fever organization, being a player and a coach there. And it's exciting what's happening with the organization and where they are. I mean, most organizations have their ups and downs, certainly, but I'm proud of the growth of the Indiana Fever.
But hold on to your seats, because this story has more twists than a pretzel factory. White isn't just talking with the Fever. She's also being pursued by the Chicago Sky and the Connecticut Sun. We got ourselves a good old-fashioned bidding war, folks.